Our class topic today is how to curve text in Illustrator and write on other paths and shapes. Some of those actions can be done in Design Space, but I have found that often using the curve tool in Design Space leaves me with gaps that I still have to work with between the letters, and sometimes it's more trouble than it's worth. Even if you don't use Illustrator, I'd love for you to stick around and watch the class. I'm sure there's still something that you'll be able to learn and apply to whatever program that you are using to design your SVGs. Plus, at the end, I will talk about the freebie that I have for this class and a coupon that everybody can use. After I show you the basics of writing on curves and other lines, then we're going to make an actual project. At the end, I'm going to show you how to design a sticker label like this. This particular one I thought was really fun for springtime in case you do any you pick farms and like to make your own jam. Then this is a little strawberry jam label. And we're going to just use print then cut on our Cricut to cut out these labels on sticker paper. So that'll be our final project. But right now, let's get started in Illustrator and learn the basics. All right, so here we are in Illustrator. You're just going to open up a new canvas. You've got an artboard to work on. These are the curved text designs that I'm going to teach you how to do today. Grab the circle shape tool and draw out a circle. And then go ahead and just change it so that it's outline only. Then you're going to find the line segment tool and just draw a line kind of from one side of the page to the other. And then to give it a curve, the way that I like to do that is to pick this anchor point tool. It's under the pen tool menu for me. To find those other options, you just right click. So here I can find kind of the middle and just drag the line up and it creates a curve. You can see you can adjust these handles if you want to, and I just kind of want a simple arc, and that's what we'll use for our line there. Next thing I'm going to do is just grab the pencil tool and draw a wavy line. And you can see that it's pretty crooked and uneven. So you can grab the direct select, that's the white arrow, and move individual points and handles. You can also come over here and select the smooth tool and drag along that line or double click on it, and that will help smooth out some of those points. And then I can see here I've got 2 points right next to each other. So I'm going to come up here. Again, it's under the pen tool menu and the delete point tool. I'll just get rid of one of those points right there. So you can spend as much time or as little time as you want to kind of smoothing out this wavy line or changing the shape of it how you like. All right, the last line that I'm going to make is a spiral line. And for me, it's under my line segment menu. If you don't see it there or you can't find it, you can always come up to the little search bar that exists in Illustrator and search for spiral, and it will take you to where it is. So the spiral tool is super easy. You just have that selected and then click and start to drag out your spiral. And then that's it. Now there's your spiral. We're going to adjust it a little bit because you can see as it gets into the center, the line is closer together, kind of like a spiral that exists in nature. And we want it to be a little more even spacing because we're going to have words typed on there and we want those to be nice and readable. Okay, so to start typing on our circle, you're going to come over here, right click on the text menu and select Type on a Path tool. Then click on any part of the path and it will fill in some sample text. Then you're just going to start typing. So what I type here is a circle is the shape of love because it goes on forever. And I want this to fill in the whole circle shape, of course. There are a couple of ways for us to fill in that gap. The first one is to increase the size of the text. And so you can just keep moving that up, and then you can also adjust the spacing if you want to change the kerning just a little bit, give a little more space in between the letters. Then when everything is positioned like this, you are going to right click on the text and select Create Outline. So now this is just a shape. I can make it bigger or smaller, and I can't edit the text anymore. For this arch line, same thing, type on a path tool. We're going to type in our phrase. Crafting is not a hobby, it's a way of life. And again, play around with a font that you like and the size and the spacing so that it fills that in nicely. I'm using the font called Lime. It's, kind of a cursive, handwritten. One thing you will notice as you kind of play with this on your own, depending on the curve or the line that you are following, some cursive and script fonts are going to work and some are not. Trying to put something of a script font in a complete circle can be either a little hard to read or a little hard to connect the letters naturally, but this is a pretty soft curve, and so you can see that it works. When it is still a line of text, you can adjust this line that it's typed on. You can change, the height of it or where it stops or starts, and so I can make this kind of a taller curve, and it makes the text move. And then I would still want to adjust the sizing, the spacing, so that it looks like it goes all the way from one side of the curve to the other. Then when I'm happy with the result, I can click Create Outline. Now the text is an object. I can make it bigger or smaller, and I can't edit the text anymore. If you're working on something and you think you might want to edit the text later or create a similar shape with different text on it, go ahead and make yourself a copy of it in this version before you create an outline so that then you could go back and edit along the same path. So for this one, I thought it would be kind of fun to make a 2-layer wave. So we have that original wavy line that we drew with the pencil. I'm going to change this to Josephine Sans font. And then I'm going to duplicate that line while it is still text, and then I'll add in my second part of the phrase. So we've got happiest birthday to you, my friend. And then here I'm actually going to change the spacing a little bit to -10. And then down here where it says my friend, I feel like there's a little too much space between birthday and friend. And so I'm going to play with editing that line to bring it up a little bit. You can play with moving the actual anchor points or moving the handles to change the curve. And then those two lines can get turned into outlines. Okay, so down here on our spiral, first thing we're going to do is type on a path tool and write in our phrase, someday I would like to spiral into control. Now you can see that we don't get very much of a spiral when we first typed it in. It would be nice to have this come in a little bit tighter. So the way that I'm going to do that is choose the delete anchor point tool and get rid of the first anchor point on the outside. And that's going to shorten the line and force all of the text down into the center of the spiral. I'm going to use the Quicksand font. And I want to do just a little bit more adjusting so that the word control goes a little bit more into the center even, and it feels like things are a little more evenly spaced from the top to the bottom. So I can tighten in the word someday a little bit by playing with this first anchor point. I can move the anchor point a little bit, and I can adjust the handle to kind of change that curve. All right, so then I'm going to work on the word control, and we have these extra points in here. I'm going to delete just a couple of them. If you delete too many, you will start to lose some of your letters, and so you can just undo that. What I want to do is play with these last couple of points, change their curve a little bit, bring them in a little tighter, and you can see how the letters in control start to come even a little farther into the center of our spiral. And then just click off of the shape to get rid of the lines so you can kind of see how just the letters look by themselves. And then I decided here to go ahead and put a period at the end, and I like that. So I can use the black arrow or black select tool to click on the whole thing and change it into outline. And then again, now we have it, it's one shape. I can't edit the text anymore, but I can easily change the size to bigger or smaller. Now we just need to turn each quote into a compound path so that it is most easily read and cut correctly by our Cricuts. So select one of the quotes, go to the Object dropdown from your top toolbar, and in the Object menu, you're going to click Expand, Unite in the Pathfinder tool, and then either go to the Object menu all the way down to Compound Path and Make, or you can click Control or Command 8 on a Mac, and that is the shortcut for making a compound path. Then we can double check that by opening up our layers window, and we can see that there are 4 compound paths on our artboard here. And now we are ready to save this project as an SVG, and we can upload it into Cricut. Okay, for our final project, I am going to show you start to finish how you can make a jam label by doing a print then cut, but we're going to design the whole label here in Illustrator using type on path, and I'm going to show you how to do a top curve and a bottom curve. So like we've done before, click on the type on a path tool, click on the circle, and then start typing your text. So I'm going to say handpicked in Washington State, and obviously I want the handpicked on the top and Washington State on the bottom. And if you just put in a bunch of spaces and move that text down to the bottom, it's going to be upside down. So what we're going to do is, you can see I have a second copy of the same size circle. And so now just delete the Washington State off of the first circle, do type on a path tool on the second circle, and type Washington State. All right, so far we still have the same problem where if we move that to the bottom of the circle, it's going to be upside down. But here's what we're going to do. Click on the menu at the top that says type, and then scroll down to where it says type on a path. Then that opens up another menu, and click on type on a path options, and this little box will pop up. You want to click the little preview box so we can see what's happening. And then you're going to click the flip box and then change it to ascender. So that means that the top of the letter, not the bottom of the letter, lines up with this outside part of our circle. Then the easiest way for us to get all of these pieces lined up is we select this text here with the black cursor. Create outlines, and then rotate it so that it's basically the bottom of that circle. So I'm going to paste in another circle of that original size. Then I can select those all and center them as well. And now I'm going to write in my center text. So I'm going to type strawberry. I'm going to change the text to Angeline. You could use any kind of script font that you like. I'm going to change it to an outline right now. That'll make it easier to resize and position. And then under that, I'm going to just type the word jam. I'm going to type it in all caps and use the font Love Love again. I'll create the outlines and then make that a little bigger, and I'll play with size and position a little more in a minute. You can see I can easily center all of these things. And I want to add some kind of strawberry element or pattern in here, so I'm going to head over to Creative Fabrica. And if I search for strawberry, I scroll down and I like this little paper pack right here. So I'm going to click on it and then click download. I'm going to save it to my download folder on my computer. Then I'll click extract all so that I can get to the individual files. And then I'm going to right click in this folder to show me large icons. I'm going to just copy and paste this kind of cartoony strawberry image, and I'm going to click arrange and then send to back because this is going to be my background. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit because I want the pattern to be a little smaller, and I'm going to drop the opacity down to 55% so that my text stands out more. You'll see that I changed that here in a minute, but I just want to make sure I'm showing you every step in my thought process so you can kind of follow where I'm going with this whole thing. The next thing I'm going to do is add a circle to the design so that I can have just a circle shape of this pattern. So I'm going to take the circle, put it on top of the paper, select both of them, and then I'm going to do a clipping mask. So you can do that through one of the menus or just hit Control-7. Okay, with that circle pattern made, I can size that the way that I want to and kind of center everything up here. And now I'm going to create an outline for the whole label. So that's going to be another circle, and I'm just going to resize that so that it's even around all of the edges. I'm going to give it a black outline for now so that I can see it, but we'll turn that into a white outline later when we go to save it so that it doesn't actually print that black line. Now I'm going to play with the size and position of my strawberry jam words. The strawberry, I want it to be bigger and extend past the edges of that patterned circle in the middle. So like we did on our previous designs, turn each of these words into a compound path. So click on the word, go to the menu under Object for Expand, and then Unite in the Pathfinder window, and then Object menu, Compound Path, Make. Okay, then what we're going to do is click on one of the words, go to the Object menu, click on Path, and then click Offset. And I'm going to give this an offset of 0.1, and then it's going to automatically just create this offset, this shadow or border. It's going to make it black, and I want to change it to white. And so you can see that we get this white outline. With the white outline, it makes the words stand out more. So then this is where I decided that the pattern in the background could be full opacity. So if you double click on the circle, it will pull up that whole square pattern that we did our clipping mask out of. And then you can change the opacity back to 100. So now I'm going to change up the colors of the letters a little bit. I'm going to select the strawberry and the jam and use the color dropper to pick this kind of medium pink that's in the pattern. And then for hand-picked in Washington State, I'm going to color pick from the red that's in the pattern. And I just like how that looks. I think it's a little more fun than having those in black. And again, whatever you're designing, you can choose the colors that you like. With the sticker label design finished, I'm going to click on that outside circle and change the outline to white. So that we still have our circle there, so that this is where the Cricut is going to cut it out, but it's not going to print a black outline. So I'm going to select just this label that we've made, and from the file menu I'm going to click on export selection. I'm going to make sure that it's set at PNG, then I can rename this and choose where I want it to be saved on my computer. Now we go open up Design Space, and we're going to just start a new project. In the left side menu, I'm going to click on Upload, then Upload Image, Browse, and then find the place on my computer where I have saved that label, PNG. Click on that, and then click the Complex option, click Continue. You can see we have that white circle there still, which is good. Click the Print Then Cut image and upload. And then here you'll just click on it and add to canvas. I'm going to change my canvas background so that I can easily see this sticker label. And it kept the same size that I had designed it, 2.5 inches. So you can change your sizing at this point if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and save it before I print it. Then I'm going to make 6 copies because that's what will fit on this page. Then click Continue. On this screen, you're going to connect your machine that you're using and then send to printer. I want to use my Envy photo printer, and then I want to make sure that I'm using the system dialog. It's going to give me the option up here so that I can change my preferences to the best quality print. This will eliminate the printer lines that you sometimes get when you're trying to print in color. I'm going to use the washi sheet setting. I'm going to put this onto a mat that's not very sticky. If you have a blue mat, great. If you have an older purple or green mat that is not very sticky anymore, then use that. Then you're going to go through the cut process. The Cricut will first use the sensor light to read the registration marks, those black lines on the corners, and then it will cut out each label. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you learned some good things about working in Illustrator and about working with text in general. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know and I will answer those, and I will see you around the internet. Bye.